Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, coming to you live from Consensus in Austin, Texas. Joining me for this segment, we have Ryan Condron. He's CEO of Lumerin, and we're here to discuss why decentralized AI matters for crypto and beyond. Ryan, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to TradeTalks.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
You got it. And decentralized AI, it's something that we're starting to cover more on the show. Give us a high-level overview of what that is and why it's advantageous to the digital asset space.
Yeah, so the idea behind decentralized AI is being able to run large language models from anywhere in the world, being able to have access to those large language models, having access to the compute behind them, and not having any type of permission or gatekeeping or censorship. So decentralized AI is all about censorship resistance, having access to the information that can't be edited, altered, or gatekept.
Let's talk about data security. How can decentralized AI enhance that and use privacy compared to centralized AI?
Oh, so the interesting thing about data security is typically you'll get better data security in a centralized system just because they get to control all the information.
Your data.
That's right.
Right.
And they own your data. And that's, when it comes down to privacy, it's like, yes, Google has all of your information, right? They track you over the web, they know everything about you. They, a lot of times, know you better than you do. When it comes to decentralized ecosystems, we are not allowing any single source to have our data. All of the data is encrypted. When we're using a large language model remotely, all of the transactions between the user and the provider is completely encrypted. So no single source, no government, no organization, no entity has your personal information, your data, what you're asking the LLMs or the AI models. It's all private.
And that was really one of the premises behind Web3. Applications, right? Was to own your own data, perhaps improve the economics for content creators and so forth. I mean, that's another use of, decentralized applications as well.
Anyone that's used Cash App, Venmo, any type of central banking system knows that you don't control your own assets. If I try to send a friend $5,000, it's going to stop me and say I'm over my daily limit, I'm over my weekly limit. It doesn't allow me to control my own, my money, my property, my assets, or my identity. That's all controlled by these centralized systems. Decentralized AI, the Web3 movement, is all about bringing control back to the individual and keeping it out of the hands of organizations, governments, and entities. So
outside of industries beyond crypto, what are some of the other applications that decentralized AI can be used for?
Wow, it's crazy. So we're barely tapping into it with the Web3 ecosystem, where right now we're working on these smart agents where I could literally give an AI smart agent $10,000 and I could instruct it, take this $10,000 and get me the highest yield over the next 7 days. And that AI agent will cross any type of LLM, any type of network, staking, unstaking, lending, doing whatever it needs to do with the money in order to get me the highest yield and then report back to me in 7 days. Now it'll completely be automated. It will be able to analyze more stats and more data faster than any human would be able to do, faster, more efficiently. And that's one application.
What about like healthcare or supply chain? Like blockchain, in my mind, supply chain makes sense.
Yeah, so keep in mind, what AI systems are really good at is analyzing data points, right? And it can draw patterns and it can analyze data points faster than any human can. Mm-hmm. And it does it in such a flexible way that anytime it comes to supply chain, anytime it comes to data security or identity, AI will be way more efficient than any centralized system.
Right.
So it's, right now, I often say it's like trying to catch a wave. We're paddling as fast as we can, but we see this huge demand for AI and compute just building up. So we're paddling as fast as we can to meet that demand, to try to stay ahead of it. So you see Microsoft, you see a lot of these large companies buying up as many power contracts as possible, trying to get as much compute as possible. So it's really like a electricity arms race right now to see who can build the largest AI system, who can build the largest capacity of compute.
It's part of the challenge
crazy.
though, right? I mean, you have to think about whether it's public or private partnerships because you have to have access to the grids and we have to make sure we have the infrastructure to support it. As an example, you could produce all the EV cars you want, but if the infrastructure doesn't exist, so I feel like almost, not the trade, but what the conversation's been focused around more is how are we able to power all this technology that's being implemented, right?
Well, we need better regulation around power production, first of all. But what we're seeing is more and more, so Bitcoin mining is a huge industry that uses a lot of power. We're seeing a lot of nation states now actually partnering with Bitcoin miners to stabilize their power grid. So that was actually one of the original focuses of Lumerin, the project we've been working on for decentralized hash power routing and Bitcoin compute. That naturally transitioned to AI compute, and we're starting to see a tug-of-war between more and more electricity going to AI versus Bitcoin mining. So right now we have like Microsoft proposing to Palos Verdes in Arizona to take up 25% of their electrical capacity, which is like 1.5 gigawatts or something crazy like that. We're going to see more and more where AI is bringing a higher ROI for usage of electricity than Bitcoin mining is, and there's going to be a constant like push and pull.
It seems like a natural fit when you think about renewable energy, right? Almost like a hybrid.
So here's the crazy thing is Bitcoin mining is actually better for renewable energy than AI compute is, because the difference is with Bitcoin mining, it's like you're asking a person to guess a random number. And you can keep going to them and saying, hey, give me a random number, give me a random number, and they could start that, they could stop that really fast. The difference is AI compute is like someone sitting there trying to write a book. And if you tell them to start that, stop that, and every single time you tell them to stop it, it's like you're taking the book away from them, crumbling up and throwing it away, and you come back to them and say, hey, start the book again. So the difference with renewable energy is they need to have what's called production following on the power grid, where you can ramp up and ramp down electricity usage very, very quickly. Bitcoin mining is amazing for that. It's second to none. Like nothing can ramp up and ramp down as fast as Bitcoin mining for grid stabilization. For AI compute, it can't do that. You can't just ask AI compute to stop computing and expect it to pick up whenever you need it to. So that's going to be the tug of war, especially in the US, is we need Bitcoin mining to stabilize the grid, but then we need a lot more power production just to fuel all these AI projects.
So where does Lumerin fit within this ecosystem?
So we are the decentralized routing layer.
Right.
So we are the piece that connects the users to the providers, and we're like the underground piping. So we're not sexy, we're not like in-your-face marketing or cool.
Right.
We're like the underground infrastructure that no one thinks about, but we're handling all the real-time data routing.
Right. Well, as the end user, you don't want to think about the infrastructure. You just want it to work.
No one wants to think about it, exactly. You know, we have a lot of people in the space that have amazing ideas, and they'll write these really cool papers, and then they'll turn to me and for people like me and say, well, how do we build it? And then me and my engineering team spend the next year or two trying to figure out how to architect this stuff and build it. So we end up having to figure out how to build all the technology that a lot of the visionaries are coming up with. And that's where Lumerin comes in. It's a lot of the underground layers of routing, and I like it. I geek out on it.
Keep it unsexy. Keep the industry growing. All right, Ryan, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks.
Thank you.
And thanks for joining me from Consensus. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.